Mother who says that she was turned away from an HISD school when she tried to enroll her daughter because of how she, the mother, was dressed. Now new tonight, that school has issued an official dress code for parents. It's a story you saw first on 2 about 2 weeks ago.
Now, since we talked with that frustrated mother, Madison High School has gone forward with a plan making it clear how it believes parents should present themselves when they're on school grounds. It's a story that has received mixed opinions since the very beginning. Our Sally Mamdou is getting more of the reaction on campus. Sally?
And Bill, parents are outraged by this, calling this dress code ridiculous. Starting this month at James Madison High School, students won't be the only ones following a dress code. The same will go for their parents. So they did say something about what you're wearing.
Yeah, they handed me this piece of paper talking about we're supposed to give this to all the parents.
This James Madison High School parent is referring to this letter issued by the school's principal, Carlotta Outley Brown, addressing guests and parents on a dress code they must follow. In the letter, the principal says, quote, "Parents, we do value you as a partner in your child's education. You are your child's first teacher. However, please know we have to have standards. Most of all, we must have high standards. Among new guidelines listed on the letter include preventing anyone from entering the building or even being on school premises wearing a satin cap or a bonnet on their head. Shower caps of any kind are also not allowed. Hair rollers will no longer be permitted." These guidelines were put in place after Channel 2 News brought you this story of a Madison High School mother earlier this month who wasn't initially able to enroll her daughter because of what she was wearing and what was on her head. Parents we spoke to today don't agree with the new rules.
I think it's ridiculous because they don't know the situation. You know, I had an emergency today.
This woman is now just learning the new dress code as she was picking up her child.
Basically, what you're wearing right now on your head is not allowed in there.
I guess that's because I have this on my head. He's saying I can't go in there.
Yes, that's the new dress code.
I don't know who this new principal is, but she is out of control.
And she says she doesn't see the relevance behind the dress code.
I'm going to school, I'm going to go presentable. But if I have this on my head, I don't see how that's a bad example for a child.
And we've reached out to HIs.
I'm sorry, I had to pause it right there. It was at the end of the clip anyway. Shout out to Willie D for coming up with this commentary. And then I saw it being posted somewhere else. Let me tell you something right now before I really even doing something like this. And she's right. If the kids gotta have a dress code that they have to abide by, then so do the parents. I wish y'all could see that clip. The only one in that clip right there that was pretty much fully dressed, but she still had the bonnet on her head, was the one talking on the phone talking about she had an emergency. I'm like, if you had an emergency, then why in the hell are you talking to the news crew? Shouldn't you be tending to your emergency? And that last one they talked to, she looked like Ursula from The Little Mermaid and sounded like her too. Let that imagery just sit in, and that's pretty much who she was. But one of the major ones that they talked about when they were saying 2 weeks ago was this woman right here. Hold on, let me see if I can pull a picture up. Do y'all see this? Look at what she has on. She has on an orange bonnet, a black shirt with Marilyn Monroe on it, of all people. And I don't know if she has on anything underneath it, some panties, maybe some very short shorts, and maybe some flip-flops. She was going to enroll her child into school dressed like that. Let me see if I can have another. There's another one right there. And she's mad that that principal is going to enforce a dress code policy for the parents. And of course, unfortunately, all the ones who have a problem with it are the black mothers. And I think it's probably a majority black high school, based on what I was seeing in the clips and like seeing the kids who was walking there, they mostly were all black. I'm not mad at this principal for enforcing that new policy. It's about time. It's another thing I get tired of seeing too. Have y'all ever walked around your neighborhood or gone to a place, into a store or whatnot, and you see people coming up there wearing pajamas? They wearing pajama pants, got their hair wrapped in the store. Now see, in that kind of place like that, they can't really tell them how to be dressed, although they probably could. If they can enforce something where they say you don't want you to wear a hoodie, then they could actually say that they don't want you to wear PJs, but they don't want to lose that customer base. But at the school, if the kids got to be presentable in some kind of way, if she as a principal has to be presentable in a certain type of way, then the parents have to look a certain type of way as well. And those, I'm not even gonna lie, some of the parents that come up that they talk to look like the kind of ones that only come up there when there's an issue. They never really come up there to check up on their child to see how the child is doing. They only come up there when there is an issue. And speaking from someone who has gone through public schooling in a black majority area, that's very true. That happened a lot when I was in school. But I never really saw any parent when I was in school come up there with a bonnet on their head or come dressed like this. Like she's dressed like she's about to go to bed or just rolled out of the bed. It doesn't take much to put on maybe a pair of sweatpants or some jeans. This woman doesn't have anything on underneath that shirt from what I can see. And they expect them to be, and they want to be mad at this woman. And that woman, that one that sound like a man gonna get upset and say, I don't know about this principal, she's just doing too much. No, she's actually doing what needs to be done. And I wouldn't be surprised if this caught on to other places and started to widespread across the establishment, which I wouldn't even be mad at. Now, this right here that you're seeing is an example of pure laziness. Like I said, it does not take much to put on a pair of pants. Like, would you really let someone into your school dressed like that? If the kid cannot come into school dressed like that, what makes you think as a parent you're going to be allowed to do so as well? Like, that is utterly ridiculous. Like, you wouldn't go to your job dressed like that because you know you would get fired. But they like, oh, well, they probably like, oh, well, I'm just dropping my kid off, or I'm just coming up here to handle this. It's not going to be all day thing. But the thing is, while you are there for that little bit of time, look somewhat presentable. Like, goddamn. And always got an issue with something like that. Why? What's wrong with looking decent? I don't get it. I do not get it. But shout out to that new principal for putting that into place. Maybe it's because she got tired of seeing that. Or maybe because she's a black woman and she expects to see black women in a certain way. Which is not a bad thing. But them 3 women that they interviewed, including her in the picture, made it seem like she's the worst person ever. I wouldn't be surprised if they drew up a petition to try to get that woman fired. And see, apparently, the other principal before her let them get away with that shit. And they didn't like the change when she came in. I wouldn't be surprised if they say, I'm going to take my child out of this school because the damn principal, that bitch, wouldn't let us dress the way we want to dress. If it was up to them, they probably would come up in there with no clothes on. Because that means they wouldn't have had to they wouldn't have to have put anything on. I bet for this woman in this picture, it was probably a stress for her to put on the little bit of clothes that she had on. Like I said, it looked like she just got out of bed. And based on the time of the setting of her being interviewed, it looked like the morning she probably did just get out of bed. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't even wash her ass. She probably came in there smelling like last night. Ain't gonna get mad at that woman because she wants to enforce a dress code for the parents. First off, it's sad enough that a grown-ass woman has to enforce a dress code policy for grown-ass adults. I'm sorry, so-called grown-ass adults. That is pitiful. And it's tacky. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.